What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to Payoff Pitch, exclusively available today on the Action Network YouTube channel. Brendan Glasheen, joined by two of our very best at the Action Network when it comes to following and covering Major League Baseball, Sean Zerillo and Collin Wilson. Gents, looking forward to a good show. 16 games today. The Marlins and Rockies have a doubleheader starting this afternoon into the evening, and then we have a slew of afternoon games. Not a couple, we have 6 afternoon baseball games. We'll get you set with picks, best bets. As always, we encourage you to get in the YouTube chat. Any questions you might have, hot takes, we'll take those too. We'll get to as many as possible over the next half hour, 40 minutes. But first, before we get to best bets, we want to get started with a contest. We're rewarding you for being here on time. In the chat, simply choose one player today that will homer, and the first person to correctly pick a player that hits a dinger will win $50, courtesy of the Action Network. Want to remind you also, if you do pick an afternoon game, it probably benefits you because that would be the first player to homer. But that doesn't always happen, so just throwing that out there. One player per YouTube user, please. So don't spam the chat. We appreciate it. And we'll get back to you later in the show to remind you to get involved. So the home run contest is still a thing here on Payoff Pitch. Let's get to best bets with Sean and Collin. Sean Zerillo, we will start with you first. And I get the feeling on this Wednesday, we are going to be talking about underdogs quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of plus money plays. There were 3 bets that I locked in last night, both first 5 and full game. It was the White Sox, the Tigers, and Collin's going to get to the third of those 3 in a minute. But I'm on the White Sox money line as my favorite bet for the day. Now, Hyunjin Ryu, great pitcher. Expected indicators used to be in the low 3s, competed for Cy Youngs in the past. He's no longer that guy. Dealt with a ton of arm injuries throughout his career. Expected indicators this year in the mid to high 4s, 4.97 expected ERA per StatCast. His strikeout rate, swinging strike rate, chase rate, all at career lows. Not the same pitcher that he used to be. And on the other end of the matchup, Michael Kopech is a guy who is definitely on the rise. 3 straight quality starts. Phenomenal stuff. Tremendous velocity. And really, he is the pitcher that I want to buy stock for. Ryu is the guy that I want to sell. Kopech, the one concern, he's an extreme fly ball pitcher. 55%, so he may have home run issues at some point in his career. Second highest fly ball rate behind Eliezer Hernandez, just ahead of Joe Ryan. That said, if he keeps the ball in the park, White Sox definitely the value side. Obviously, Toronto is the better lineup, but I basically make this game a coin flip. So the White Sox first 5 line to plus 107, their full game line to plus 115. Those would be my price targets. And I also like the overs in this matchup. First 5 over 4.5 to minus 105. And then the full game over 8.5 at any plus money number.
Okay, Toronto's won 6 in a row, so we'll see if the White Sox can knock them off here at plus money. What do you got for us, Collin Wilson? I think you're going similar boat, a dog.
Yeah, we're barking dogs today. I think everybody needs to realize that if you're going to bet MLB long-term, you're going to have to learn to take underdogs in June. Happy June, by the way. July and August. It's the only way to survive. And in this one, I think the Orioles got about 15 cents to 20 cents of value. I would bet them down to plus 120. Right now, Fangraphs projects the Orioles to have the worst record of baseball, finishing with 67 wins. So you have to be cautious about when you pick your spots. And the record for Kyle Bradish has not been that great. It doesn't scream betting deliverable with 11 earned runs in his last 2 games, totaling just 7 innings. But despite Bradish getting hammered, the market moved against Seattle this morning, and the Mariners have severe issues hitting sliders, which is the second most used pitch in Bradish's arsenal. Speaking of slider, we got Robbie Ray, reigning AL Cy Young on the hill. His secondary pitch is the slider, and the Orioles, that's the only positive value pitch that they can hit is the slider, plus 5 for the season as a net run value combined for the roster. I think Ray is going to get his lion's share of the strikeouts, especially when you look at the Orioles 28th in K rate against lefties. But when it's slider versus slider in these 2 pitchers, the Orioles have the better lineup from an offensive perspective. I see 20 cents of value. So, we're going to ride with Baltimore. It doesn't happen very often. We're going to do it today.
Yeah, and I just want to comment on Colin's point about Ray throwing sliders. It's up to a career high rate this year, about 42%, 10% than he's thrown it previously. He's fastball slider 98% of the time now. So you can sit on those 2 pitches. He's gotten rid of his curveball, gotten rid of his changeup. It's all fastball slider at this point. And his velocity's came up to where it was last year. So I can bake in, his effectiveness where he was last year. But that slider is going to be an issue for him today against Baltimore.
Okay, he's not quite back in that Cy Young form from last year, but we like the Orioles today. with plus money. Very good. Okay, moving on to fading the public. And we encourage all of you, of course, we're biased, to get in the Action Network app. If you get one of those pro accounts, you get to see what's happening all over the market when it comes to Major League Baseball. In the Action Network app, we can see the public today loves the Houston Astros over the Oakland A's. 94% of the bets are on Houston, 84% of the cash coming in on the Stros as well. Zerillo, we'll start with you. Are you in with the public on Houston today?
I am, but only for the first 5 innings. If you're going to bet a full game line, I would actually bet Oakland. So if it's tied or if the Astros have about a 1-run lead after the first 5 innings, I might jump in on an Oakland live play. But in terms of the first 5 line, I just see a pretty big difference between Justin Verlander and Cole Irvin. All of that said, Verlander projects closer to what he did in his later years in Detroit. You see the spin rate increase dramatically once he went to Houston, obviously putting some sticky stuff on the ball. Missed last year when they took that away with injury. Now look at his spin rate this year, his swinging strike rate. They're both down to his levels previously to where he was before he got traded to Houston. So despite the fact that I like Verlander in the first 5 innings, I also like the overs in this matchup. First 5 over 3.5 up to -118. You could still bet that. I think the over has moved from 7 to 7.5, but if you see an over 7 at -113, I would bet that as well. But definitely the Astros just in the first 5 innings for me.
What's the angle for you, Colin Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Sean on every aspect with Verlander, and I'm going to join him on the Astros first 5, but I'm going to take a different route. I'm going to go Astros team total over because I can't depend on this Oakland team and their offense right now when I stare at just a bunch of red on a spreadsheet. I mean, bottom 5 and everything from weighted runs created plus against righties, dead last in WOBA against righties, barrel rate 29th in MLB against righties. So it's just not going to work for me today backing them. At the same time, I think the Astros, which do have, positive metrics against lefties, the Oakland bullpen has just not been there, an xFIP of 24th. And the reason why I'm taking, just a first 5 on the Astros is like Sean, I don't trust the pen. They're 19th in xFIP right now, so they can be had. I agree that Oakland can get back in this game, but I think the safer play is to depend on the Astros to go over their team total.
Okay, very good. We shall see. Houston has won 3 straight, and that run differential is one of the best in the American League, only second behind the New York Yankees, while Oakland is 3-7 in their last 10, 12 games under 500. Let's move on to the Action app. We talked about it just a second ago, so it identifies not only where all the money's coming in, but also if you have one of those pro accounts, you can get a good read on the prop market as well. We're going to give you a sneak peek on what you can get. So this is an example. If you were to subscribe to a pro account in the Action app, according to our pro model, you can see right at the bottom here, Hyun-Jin Ryu over 3.5 strikeouts is the best prop on the board. The pro line rates at 5, good for a 26.1 edge, 26.1% edge. So that is what you get if you have that pro account. Good stuff. Zerillo, what's your favorite prop for today? If you want to, give the folks some encouragement why they can just look to you and not worry about this number.
Well, I am going to take another prop that is in our prop tool. I do look at that myself, and we're very good at projecting strikeout totals. Thank you, Sean Kerner. But I like Kyle Bradish over 4.5 strikeouts. You can get plus 130 out there, I believe, at Bet Rivers. I bet plus 118 at FanDuel because Bet Rivers won't let me bet with them anymore. But Action Labs projected this at 5. Bradish has actually been pretty impressive. You just visually look at him. Fastball explodes out of his hand. Colin mentioned the slider. Curveball is really good movement too. Very, very sharp breaking balls. He's carrying a 7.3 ERA this season, but his expected metrics, xERA, xFIP, are actually closer to 3.75. Giving up a bunch of homers. His BAB is 360. Strand rate is 60%. So you look at all the metrics that should eventually regress towards league average, and he's been unlucky in pretty much all of them. Mariners are mid-pack in strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, so they don't particularly excel at avoiding the strikeouts against righties. And he's the type of arm who should generate about a strikeout per inning. So you get 5-6 innings, should get 5 or 6 strikeouts. Action Labs, as I said, has this at 5, like the over 4.5 at plus money.
Well,
Colin Wilson, has anyone denied you elsewhere from getting in on any player props?
If we're going to name drop sports books that are cutting us off, I'll have to wait till football season because there's a few of them. But I'm going to go with Jeffrey Springs under 4.5 Ks for the Rays today. There's just too many signals here. Just like Sean, I get up at 6 a.m., I pour a cup of coffee, I come up, I look at Action Labs, and I want to see the projections, thanks to Sean Corner, about what we have on K props. And, when I get a connection between Action Labs at 2.7 on Jeffrey Springs, and then I look at SaberSim with a projection of 4.1, and you're going to give me even money on under 4.5, then I need to do a little bit further investigation before I make probably, a bigger wager to see if everything lines up. And when I look at this, the Rangers are 8th against lefties in strikeout rate, and they're 11th in chase percentage. So what that means is they're not going to chase many things out of the zone. They don't strike out very often. And, they don't wander off the plate. They're very disciplined to be in top 10 in chase rate. And Springs has increased his total batters faced over the past 2 games. His 13 Ks look pretty stellar in his last 2 starts, but consider his opponents. The Yankees and Orioles are bottom 10 in Z contact. That's how much contact you're making on balls that are thrown in the strike zone, and in their bottom 10 in chase rate. So it was really a favorable matchup for Jeffrey Springs. I think he comes back to normal, regresses a little bit on the southpaw, under 4.5 today for me, even money on Jeffrey Springs.
Thanks to all of you joining us right now over on YouTube, exclusively Payoff Pitch on the Action Network YouTube page. I want to remind you, if you're just tuning in, you may have seen that the chat is currently, it's got a lot of names that do have home run ability. We are asking you with our home run contest to pick one player that will homer today, and the first person to correctly select a player who hits a homer gets $50, courtesy of the Action Network. Only one guess per person, please. Anthony DeBundo, that includes you. We see you in there. Can't believe what are you doing?
Absolute
anyway,
clown.
Yeah, really. I mean, get lost.
He shot played on the Pirates.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by. And we'll get to what you're talking about there in the chat, as he probably sits there in his Phillies jersey with that big grin on his face. I can already picture it. But yes, also, to Anthony, you too, I suppose. Anyone who has questions, please, we'll get to them later in the show. Any questions, comments, concerns, hot takes about the slate today, we will get to them. So let's get to the Pirates. I almost just want to, hand the mic over to Sean Zerillo. The Pirates are 4-1 now against the Dodgers this year. They've taken the first 2 games of this series in Los Angeles. The last of a 3-game series is tonight. It's not quite plus 300 or plus 295 like it was the other night, Zerillo, but please take it away on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, I projected this line closer to plus 200. I like it down to plus 190 in either half. Basically, the expected metrics between Jose Quintana and Mitch White are virtually identical. They're pretty similar pitchers on paper. That said, I don't love this matchup for Quintana. His zone rate, he's become a nibbler. The zone rate is the lowest of his career. Chase rate is the highest of his career. So he's basically throwing his changeup more often than he has ever before as well. So he's basically doesn't have the stuff that he previously did, and he knows it. And he's trying to get hitters to swing outside of the zone, and they're doing it. But the Dodgers chase less often than any other offense in baseball. They're probably going to rack up walks against Quintana here. Maybe he gets some double plays and gets out of it. I think there's a chance he gets smashed. That's probably why I'm not touching the spread, the plus 1.5 runs, even though I do see value on it. Because I think the Pirates probably either have to win a slugfest here or they're going to get blown out. So I do like the Pirates in either half down to about plus 190. It's a less allocated bet than I have had on them in previous days. I'm not betting the spread, but I do like their money line. I just think it's a little bit wide, and we've seen the public just pile in on the Dodgers. Maybe those people who did pile in the past couple days laying $3 to win $1 are broke at this point. So I don't know how much public action is coming in on them today, but definitely going to bet the Pirates a little bit here in either half. Like I said, I just don't love the matchup for Quintana.
And Colin Wilson, you're looking maybe to a total today. I did see plus money on the under at 8.5, but now that number has crept up to 9.
Yeah, I'm still betting the under here. I know it's a getaway day for the Pirates. I feel like they've probably gotten theirs, and they're going to get out of town and have a day off tomorrow. And when I look at the hitting metrics, what the Pirates do against right-handed pitching, they're bottom 5 in strikeout rate, ISO, weighted runs created plus, and WOBA. So I don't expect a lot of offense coming against Mitch White. And plus the Dodgers have, despite the Dodgers broadcast last night and the Gator all love and the Dodgers love and talking about him being a wrestler, I think, this bullpen is more locked down than just about any other team in Major League Baseball. Second in strikeout to walk ratio and fourth in Ks and third in xFIP. So they should be able to shut the Pirates down after the Pirates struggle to hit right-handed pitching. So I don't expect a lot of runs here. It's a number that I actually projected 7.9. I'll happily take the under 9. I was going to take under 8.5. I'd even do an alternate at 8. I expect the Dodgers to pitch like their numbers say they should, and I expect the Pirates to hit as their numbers say they do against righties, which isn't very well.
There you go, DeBundo. There's your Pirates minute. and it's really for everybody. But let's go to another question in the YouTube chat. Jonathan Preston weighs in. Anything on the Mets and Nats game? Read the Mets are going to sit players. Either of you have a play on Mets Nats? That one starts at 1:10 Eastern. One of the first
so
games.
I technically project value on the Nats if you can get plus 208 or better. That said, I don't know anything about Evan Lee. I've never seen him pitch. He's coming up from Double-A, has high strikeout and walk numbers, appears very enigmatic, but I can't tell you a thing about him. I've never seen him pitch. So technically do project value in the Nationals. This is probably a spot, though, where I'm just going to try to watch him unless that number gets up a little bit higher, closer to plus 225, maybe even plus 250 before I jump in.
Yeah, I agree with Sean. I was reading about Evan Lee this morning. Making the jump from Double-A to the majors is a big jump. And, Washington does not hit righties very well. So I expect them to not have any progress against Carlos Carrasco. So it's really kind of a mixed bag that we've got here. And then the Washington bullpen, I can't go full game on the Nats considering what their bullpen has been able to do. So this was a complete pass for me.
Okay, very good. Again, any last minute questions, get them in the chat. We appreciate you stopping by. We do see your home run picks, everybody. Those are being logged and written down in the very important section. So please, thanks for getting in there. And if you haven't done so already, give us your home run pick. If you get the right guess, first person to guess correctly on the slate today, one pick per person, you win $50, courtesy of the Action Network. Okay, as we always remind you, download the Action Network app to get the rest of the guys' picks throughout the course of the day, the whole season. But before we go, let's go around the diamond. One more pick from each of the guys and just do it in a couple sentences. The time it takes to turn a double play. We'll go to Zerillo first.
Tigers money lines. Tarek Skubal is an ace in the making. If you don't realize it yet, potentially a long shot Cy Young candidate. Tigers offense is pathetic. They're pacing for fewer than 500 runs. Even their teams that finished with 40 wins on a season scored like 550 runs. So it's sweaty. They're probably not going to score. Maybe Skubal wins 1-0, but first 5 money line to 103, minus 103, and full game to plus 104 are bets for me on the Tigers.
Go ahead, Collin. What do you got?
I'm going to go Cleveland team total over 4.5 because my Royals are god awful. And, the Guardians do not strike out against righties. Brad Keller's top 2 pitches are a slider sinker. That's 2 of Cleveland's favorites to hit. Throw in a Royals bullpen that's bottom 5 in every single category from xFIP to strikeout to walk ratio. My Royals are awful. Cleveland over 4.5 team total.
Quickly, Zerillo, back to the Pirates. Max is in the chat. Pirates team total over 3? Question mark.
Have to see where I have that projected real quick. That's probably an overplay for me if you're getting about minus 110 or better. Like I said, I think they need to win a slugfest today. I would definitely prefer that to getting the plus 1.5 runs on their spread, but I would probably just poke the money line small as opposed to playing a team total. As Collin mentioned, the Dodgers can lock almost everything down with their bullpen. So I wouldn't want to get them to 2.5, 3 runs early and then be sitting, sweating out the final run for the final 3 or 4 innings.
Yeah, I agree with Sean. I think if you're going to bet Pirates, you're going to do a team total over in the first 5 as we're going up against that bullpen. And just hope they can get a piece of Mitch White. This is a Pirates team that's second in Z contact. So they do make a lot of contact with strikes. And they're 6th in chase percentage. They don't go outside the strike zone very much. So I would prefer a team total over in the first 5.
First 5 is at 1.5, minus 115. I'm seeing on DraftKings for the Pirates. Okay,
yeah, I don't mind that. I have it about 1.9. So that's probably about where I'd lay it up to.
Okay, very good. We'll see if the Pirates can improve to what is it now? It would be 5-1 against the Dodgers this year if they win today in Los Angeles. We'll see. It's the last game of the day, so we'll look forward to that one. Again, plenty of afternoon games, 6 of them today, and we've got 16 games total, a doubleheader between the Marlins and Rockies. Like we said, download the Action Network app, get the rest of these guys' picks. They not only post the picks, but they have analysis available as well over at the Action Network. Really appreciate Sean Zerillo, Collin Wilson for stopping by. For the rest of our entire crew, Brendan Glasheen, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We come to you every week here on the YouTube channel for Payoff Pitch. We'll join you next week. And also, be sure to check us out, Payoff Pitch, on the podcast Friday morning. We'll have a breakdown of the Friday slate, Payoff Pitch, over on the podcast format. So we'll talk to you then. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Good luck today.